Hello, welcome back to Blood on the Bayou Circuit Series here at The Adventure Begins in Houston, Texas. We are going into round four, where we have Ravi on Aurora, as well as Charles on Victor. Surely an explosive matchup to be had, but before we get started, how are you doing, John?
I'm doing well. Justin, how are you?
Doing great. I am a huge fan of Victor, and I'm really looking forward to see what Charles brings to the matchup. Surely going to be the aggressor, or trying to be the aggressor against the Aurora, just trying to survive through the clash cards and slowly build up that advantage where he's just ripping as many cards away as possible.
How many Clash cards do you think Charles is actually bringing into this mashup where Aurora doesn't really have very big attacks, just goes so wide?
Generally, it's just going to be like the three trounce, three test of strength, maybe like blue clash of might and stuff like that. But the real power cards you're wanting are the test of strength and the trounce, so you get the block value, as well as just drawing another card to be able to send back more pressure against the Aurora.
And
More
from the
pressure that the Victor is able to put out with like CNCs and debilitates, the easier it is to slowly roll that like incremental advantage.
Yeah, one kind of taking cards away from Aurora, really the kind of key to stifling a lot of the damage that she can do. And
Yeah,
now
but
this, we're recording this after Aurora has already LL'd. I mean, this event full of Auroras, right?
yeah, I believe this is there's only one round that doesn't have an Aurora. Pretty good hero, and rightfully so, with
Yeah,
just the very consistent 0 for 4 go again. All of the just power cards she has available to make any matchup winnable.
definitely made that speed run to LL in no part, in no small part due to events like this one, and also Blood on the Bayou. I think the second one also had an Aurora win that event. I mean, we have seen the power of Aurora over and over again in these events.
Yeah, it was release weekend. Aurora
Yeah,
gets her first LL points.
and even the last Blood on the Bayou event we did also, she won, right? At the
I,
very end
I believe so. It was Aurora versus Enigma for the finals of our Road to Nationals.
of our Road to Nationals. Yeah, I mean, clearly this deck, Rune Blades in general, have got the goods.
And even if Victor is able to start peeling cards away, Aurora, the way her hands scale so linearly with every card being 0 for 4 go
Zero
again,
four.
uh, even like peeling away cards, like you still are surprisingly like losing life throughout the game. Looks
Victor,
like
not really one to have a lot of kind of disruption effects, except for maybe some of the crushes that he includes that are part of the general Guardian package.
yeah, and Aurora has plenty of block threes and armor to be able to turn off as much as she can going, or at least starting out.
Is that Charles with the Marvel Victor?
Marvel Victor, the Blackout Marvel Crown of Dominion. But
Nice.
it looks like it will be Ravi starting us out. You see the tunic counter, and I, I'm already seeing gas out of Ravi's hand.
Yeah, what are you seeing? So the Flicker Wisp.
The Flicker Wisp is what you want to be seeing to be able to set up for the ever so famous combo with Arc Lightning, but really is just trying to take the tunic counter away from Charles, I imagine. Not sure who won the die roll, but I can imagine Victor trying to take second away from Aurora as well.
Just really want to be the first one with damage to the hand.
Yeah. playing the electrostatic discharge to give +3 to the next attack, but looks like he's just using it to get the embodiment, pitching away 2 reds and arsenaling
So,
that flicker wisp.
do you think Ravi's idea here is he understands that he needs to have bigger hands to punch through Charles's defense value on his cards?
Yeah, attacking Victor with small hands is not really what you want to be doing, because if you're just coming in with 4 into 4, you can just block with a test of strength, get massive amounts of value out of it, and not actually lose any cards and barely any life. So
You
setting
saw
up for those bigger hands is what Aurora needs to be doing to be able to punch through.
Justin, you mentioned Ravi starting with a little bit of some gas in his hand. I mean, Charles, out the great gate, has one of the gassiest turns you can see as a victor.
The Visit Goldmane Estate just starting out with 3 mites and a spinal crush, about as good as it gets for Victor.
Spinal Crush, obviously the OG disruptive card for these go wide decks in Flesh and Blood. I mean, this was Welcome to Wraith, the bane of ninjas everywhere.
Yeah, and Ravi unfortunately finding the second Flicker Wisp. You never want to see 2 together, sadly, because if you don't have the Arc Lightning or anything to pair with it, it's just a pretty rough 2 block or 2 arcane. But peeling
Not
3
only
cards away from Ravi, really stifling the start.
And I mean, we've talked about how powerful the Runeblade class is. Not only do they have access to a lot of the best equipment in the game, but they also have access to 0 for 4 defense reactions that some of the other classes just don't have.
Seeing the second Spinal Crush being blocked with on that Lightning Surge. Actually, an E-Strike coming down for Charles. Not really what you want to use the mites on, but that's a lot of life pressure that's going to be coming down.
Yeah, probably, again, would have wanted it on a disruptive effect, was something with a crush effect or something like that. But you're right, Justin, a lot of damage here. What is that damage?
His
Assuming he's
go again.
Yeah, okay.
Even just the value that, even if you're not putting it on a disruptive card, the value that Goldmane Estate gives you, it just really adds up. Looks like Ravi blocking 6 on it. No somersault to be seen, which is usually what you'd see from it. And actually, a CNC coming out from Charles.
Brutal. There's one of the disruptive effects you love to see as a victor.
Looks like an E-Strike and Snatch left in hand for Ravi. Gonna be wasting a little bit of the armor just to protect the Flicker Wisp and Arsenal. But this is often what Auroras have been doing to try to deal with decks that can be pretty disrupted, defensive into them. Just blocking out and finding those good opportunities. But that's kind of what Charles wants to be seeing. More Ravi is blocking out and not sending back meaningful damage is just more time that Charles gets to set up, but that's just a Miller's Grindstone coming out.
Not exactly what he wanted to swing back with.
Definitely looking for something like an Erase Face or another Spinal Crush, but
3 cards in hand. I mean, what does Charles have, if you can see? Maybe just kind of stuck with defensive options.
Not giving us as good of a view as Ravi is.
Ravi with is that double Lightning Valley in hand? Very willing to take this damage.
Ooh. And I did see a Thunk being revealed on the Clash from Miller's Grindstone, winning the Clash and giving him a Might, as well as destroying the Entwined Lightning from Ravi. Yeah, that is two channel lightning valleys. Not terrific to see next to each other. Especially with the tunic counter wanting to be spent on the sword instead of pitching a lightning card. Not sure these lightning valleys are going to get too much value at this time.
Especially, I mean, we know Charles had quite a few cards left in hand. Maybe keeping defensive options.
And there's a non-zero chance that they were just all reds and that was his only available play. 2 arcane coming through on that flicker wisp, fused with the lightning surge, drawing a card off the lightning valley. Current funnel. One
at
of
least
the
has a blue
premier
to
blues to one of the premier blues to be pitching.
Lightning blues, especially to keep this lightning valley around. What do you
Probably
think
gonna
about?
see. Sorry.
What do you think about Ravi deploying this flicker wisp without seeing this arc lightning?
Sadly that's what you have to do sometimes, and it looks like he'll be trying to arsenal the second lightning valley, which is probably the better way to handle it, because you can't keep that arsenal clogged for too long, and being able to arsenal the other lightning valley to get more value over the next few turns, opposed to just letting the flicker wisps sit there.
There is only one flicker wisp left in this deck, though.
Yeah, and sometimes it just lines up like that for Aurora. Flicker wisp, not one of my favorite cards in the deck. If you don't see it exactly next to arc lightning, it's one of the worst cards you could be bringing. But that's a double clash coming out from Charles, having both the trounce and the test of strength. Sadly not getting a second draw off of creating a second gold, but that's a lot of power he's getting stored up while taking fairly little. Yeah, just going to be ending on that lightning surge to arsenal the channel lightning valley. And most likely set up an embodiment just to be able to have that extra next turn.
I think this was the first time we've really seen Ravi utilize kind of a full hand in order to break through Charles's defenses. Charles, unfortunately, kind of had the goods, the trounce, the block cards, in order to really create value even on Ravi's turn.
And
he's
another
coming back
Goldmane
out.
estate. He's visiting Daddy for money and creating, I believe, 6 mites off of this now.
Really scary if he can pair this with a disruptive attack.
I see at least one, but that's going to be another E-Strike with bonus power. It'll be 7 go again. I believe I saw a Debilitate in the hand with the Tunic counter. That makes for just a great rest of the hand. And from Ravi, I believe I see the Exude Confidence we saw off of the Trounce and Test of Strength. Ravenous, a blue.
Ravi taking the straight damage. Kind of figures that he's kind of on the back foot here. Erase Face is going to do some damage, though, to this hand.
It's going to really take away enough cards that the Lightning Valleys don't really get to do what they want to do. And then if he just lets it hit and tries to get the value out of the turn, he doesn't get to keep the Lightning Valleys.
Erase Face, one of the must block cards in this deck.
It can kind of depend on the hand, but seeing the Lightning Valleys, like you want to be keeping those around. You want to be able to pitch and keep the Lightning Valleys.
Ravi really in the tank for this one.
With the 6 mites prepared for next turn, he has to be thinking like what he can try to do to be ready for that, and I guess keeping the extra armor instead of throwing armor in front of the erase face. The exude confidence coming down with go again off of the embodiment, just to be met with a test of strength, creating more gold for him.
Can't
It
really see what's on the top.
Looks like he had to pop a gold to reclash and actually still lost. I believe revealing the Rouse the Ancients off of the top on the second one.
Okay. Ravi really no use for the gold token.
And seeing the Entwined Lightning on top from the Ravenous Rabble, he knows he needs to be blocking this out, because whatever he draws is going to be the oh yes, Starfall actually only coming in with 1 without go again. So even if he gets the draw, he's not going to be able to use it.
Charles
Deciding if he
2 cards left in hand to make use of this these 6 mite tokens.
Ravi not deploying the Channel Lightning Valley to try to get the extra value on the Starfall and see if maybe he draws into another lightning that he could pitch. Even with Ravi having that, one really big turn, he's still at a life deficit to Charles sending buffed CNC or buffed E-strikes instead of disruptive cards, and that's going to be a 1-card 10 swing in the hammer.
Miller's Grindstone again. What's your thought on this Miller's Grindstone tech? I mean, usually we see a lot of these Guardians stick to the tried and trues, the Anathoses, the Sledge of Anvilheims.
Because he wants to be using the shield in this matchup, he has to pick one of the one-handed hammers to go with it. And while Titan's Fist is obviously the safe option, Miller's Grindstone is pretty safe. You're not really gambling into the matchup, even though he showed a Rouse the Ancients on the Clash, which easily could have lost him the Clash on the Miller's Grindstone. It's stripping away cards from the Aurora, which can potentially lead to a fatigue end state, even though that's not going to be Victor's number 1 win condition. More often than not, it's going to be the value of, let's say, a hammer for 10 on just pitching a blue. And Ravi going in with a 5-card hand finally without anything like a Flicker Wisp. But he's down 14 life already.
This game moving very quickly.
I always love to say Victor is an aggro hero, but Charles just taking the value lines all over the place here. Not even going to try blocking out the Flicker Wisp, not knowing about the Channel Lightning Valley. Entwined Lightning coming down that we saw last turn.
0 for 4.
0 for 4, 0 for 4, 0 for 4. The classic.
Electrostatic Discharge. I mean, Charles knows he's in for some hurt this turn.
Seeing the last card is the Lightning Valley, he might actually just be pitching that discharge instead of attacking with it, so he can arsenal the 3rd Lightning Valley.
Exactly what you said. Justin, you played Aurora at this event, didn't you?
Yeah. Aurora is kind of a good hero.
Yep.
But thankfully she has moved on, and we can let some other heroes have the spotlight coming up.
Other
Like,
heroes like more rune blades, huh?
more rune blades, more Florian and Vincent. But we
There
have
you go.
our shiny boy taking the spotlight. Now Charles coming back with a 5 card hand.
5 card hand, life totals even. What does Victor do on a full card on a full grip? Has
Zealous
extenders,
belting
zealous belting.
apparently. Having to underpitch actually for now. Oh, okay. The red being pitched underneath it to be able to enable the zealous belting, with the blue being the rouse the ancients we've seen before off of clashing. I believe off of the grindstone last turn. I wonder what he has in the arsenal that he's trying to use these resources for. Or it could just be a CNC to follow it up. The 2 burn up shocks in hand. Oh, and he's pummeling
Pummel.
the zealous belting. Very somewhat famous play if you're not expecting it on the zealous.
Yeah, none floating, tunic, and an arsenal.
I don't believe Victor to be running any 1 cost cards other than, of course, visit the Goldmane estate. Ravi going down to 8 and having to give up a card off of this. But 9 discard a card is not quite what you want to be doing with 4 cards from
No.
the Victor perspective. But it'll be enough to bide his time. When those hammers are coming in for half of your life, you need to start giving up cards to the hammer, and there's a good chance he never has a 5 card hand again.
Charles still access to a lot of resources. One in terms of his quick dodge flexors.
With the burn up shock in hand for Ravi, he's probably going to use that to try to peel as many cards away as he can, but something like the quick dodge flexors will make the burn up shock pretty null. Leading the Ravenous Rabble. The last card in hand, I believe, looks to be the Skyward Serenade. 0 for 4. Oh, 0 for 3 go again. With the Trounce. So the Skyward Serenade going to the bottom. And E-Strike. I do not see Charles's card, but giving it a think, I believe he lost the Clash. Yeah. Using Victor's ability to actually send Ravi's card to the bottom because it looks like it's Zealous Belting on top. Well, odds Aurora has another 5 power after we've seen a couple of them already. Really low. Not wanting to risk flipping a pummel off of his deck.
Looking
Skyward
for
Serenade
Skizik.
coming out. Gonna be Skizik coming down for 4 go again.
Justin, what are your thoughts about the misprint on Skyward Serenade? Does that actually change kind of how the Aurora deck plays if the go again was an option?
Uh, if the go again was a mode like it was intended, supposedly, it would not see CC play.
Yeah.
It may not have changed too much about Aurora's LL rate, but it definitely did not slow her down at all. Having something to shuffle the deck allows Aurora to be very greedy with her resource curve. Mini list as low as 6 blues because you could just shuffle them back in. Sounds like Charles did not block the Skizik.
The Skizik.
So playing out the 3rd channel Lightning Valley and drawing 2 cards. Seeing, ooh, and it looks like a
Judge call.
judge call. Uh, Maybe trying to just verify that he could use the somersault on the Skizik, because seeing the rest of the hand being burn up shock, Skizik, and current funnel, probably looking to oh, the mic's still active. Yeah, he's asking about the somersault, so he'd be able to
Somersault it back.
yeah, somersault to be able to sword, send Skizik, create embodiment. Just trying to verify with the judge. In the damage step, he would be able to somersault it. Yeah, damage step, playing the somersault.
Charles very
And
aware of these interactions. He is a judge.
the new changes to the damage step and the link step around the time of hunted release somehow really benefiting the lightning heroes with how somersault interacts with it. Now being able to play it after damage as opposed to needing to play it as a reaction.
Ravi's still sitting on this burn up shock, is going to use it now.
Most likely just trying to do what he can to take away cards from Charles, still sitting with 5 cards of his own, knowing one of them's a Zealous Belting. So he will be able to utilize the hand effectively with a 5 go again into probably an 8 or some other disruption. So just doing what he can to try to take away cards. He's just going to take the damage. Getting burned up from the Starfall hit, taking 6 total. Knowing that last card is the Skizik. Probably considering if he uses the 2 floating just to give a pump to the Skizik with the embodiment. Oh, gonna be arsenaling the Skizik.
Arsenal Skizix, yeah. I think that's probably right. Isn't going to kind of push lethal at this junction on this turn cycle, and so choosing just to set up a 5 card hand and the embodiment.
Still having the Crown of Providence and a block on the grasp means he would be able to
Rouse the
sink
Ancients.
away the Skizik.
Rouse the Ancients has enough damage to really threaten lethal.
Getting 7 from its own ability and 1 from the Trounce last turn. This is a rouse for 8. That's threatening lethal. And Charles still has 3 cards in hand, most likely being able to Zealous Belting into Hammer. I believe that is a somersault in hand for Ravi, along with a couple 3 blocks.
Can use it to have his block cards do double duty on this turn, but won't really have a lot of cards to attack with.
Yeah, somersault being one of the more unfair cards Lightning has had access to recently. Sometimes being able to be used as a just a 1-card 6 block. Why aggressive heroes need a defense reaction for 6 is who knows. Or pseudo defense reaction.
Not even just a defense reaction, but also an offensive able to play multiple cards on offense as well. Very strong card.
Somersault is definitely one of the power cards of the Lightning class at this point.
Blocking 6, somersault. Knew that was happening. Taking 2.
Yep. Going down to 6 all.
But as you said, Charles ready to zealously attack
Oh, he's
Ravi's
going
health total.
he's going gambling, drawing off of a gold, seeing probably if he can find more resources off the top. Ravi scared of the zealous belting being pummeled again.
Yes. Two cards in hand for Charles. Definitely something to be scared of.
Getting
Ravi
nice laughs
definitely.
from the table next door.
Ravi definitely having to block here. The question is how much damage he can let through. Yeah, he's just talking about the pummel right now.
Now's probably the time to try to cash in the Crown of Providence, get rid of the Skizik in Arsenal. Not something you want to be playing, but it's still a forego again with the embodiment already set up.
Ravi does have to be scared of this pummel because it is there.
And that is
Charles
four on 9.
discarding a card. Anything floating? No, just the one. Can't come in for that Miller's Grindstone at the end. Having to discard might be Lightning Strike. Charles running 3 pummels.
Using using the tunic and the one floating to gamble on some more gold to maybe find a blue
A
or at
blue.
least use it as a ponder.
Charles really eking all the value out of the money that Daddy gave him.
Potentially very scary if he found something like a trounce or a test of strength on top, which I'm sure you'd be happy to see either way.
Yeah.
Knowing the Skizik just going to be the forego again, likely off of this embodiment. Yep. Knowing the last card in hand is, I believe, that E-Strike, unless it was discarded. Being at 1 with very little armor left means the hammer is going to start peeling 2 cards soon after he chews through the Crown of Providence and Tunic. But being at 1, like any of those big Guardian attacks, you're going to be peeling multiple cards away, leaving Ravi unable to really come back with anything.
Do you think this game is a foregone conclusion, Justin? I mean, electromagnetic somersaults. I think there may be one left in the deck, but Ravi's going to have to be defending at this point.
Yeah, not seeing any of the Arc Lightning or any of those other like big power cards that Aurora is known for really didn't do him any favors. Losing the last Lightning Valley, just the one card hand of being able to peel away multiple cards, and now we have the E-Strike coming out for 7, asking for
3
at least
cards.
3 cards out of him.
Or at least this Crown of Providence in 2.
Let's see.
And I mean, sometimes Aurora, no blocking cards.
There are quite a few cards in the deck that have no block value. Let's see, the Arcanic Shockwave, I believe the last Somersault, and Electrostatic Discharge.
Is that an Arc Lightning a little bit too late?
And finally, the Arc Lightning coming out to play when he doesn't even have anything to use with it.
Charles, found some very powerful cards early. I think both his visit the Gold Main Estates Ravi not finding the comparative power cards in the arc lightning. I mean, this game was close. Charles had 6 health left. Could have been very
Aurora
different.
Aurora is able to squeeze out of these positions a little bit with other high value plays, but using the last somersault like this, not that path that she's looking for. Looks like he
There it
passed
is.
on the crown trigger, just taking the guaranteed 3 damage from the discharge instead of trying to gamble on maybe finding a Ravenous Rabble or anything else off the top. It would be this Arcanic Shockwave, not fused, coming down for 7. At least asking for cards out of Charles. Still can't see anything he's holding on to. Lining up the block.
Charles, a lot of options. All of his cards do block.
I believe I saw Macho, some debilitates.
Keeping the Macho, should he choose to do that, just ends this game.
Looks like he did keep it, but did he keep another blue? Oh, it is an erase face. Oh no. Looking at Ravi's hand, I see a total of 7 block. Taking away all of his attacking cards. Unless he gives up the tunic. Sending the erase face, probably play here over just swinging hammer and arsenaling the erase face, making sure you can't just give 8/3 block in the tunic to cover it up.
Charles really being patient and, trying to find as much damage on each turn as possible.
Looking at blocking with the Serenade, and maybe the Serenade, and at least the Arcanic Shockwave. This looks like the first lightning press we've seen from Ravi.
Unfortunately, won't be doing much. There it is. Full block.
And exude confidence coming down. One of the better cards to be paired with the lightning press.
He's gonna use it.
This does put Charles in a range where shocks could clean things up. Okay, seeing the golden sun come down, 10 overpower, already extending the fist bump.
Overpower. Yeah, Ravi saying, gold main estate, a lot of gold main estate really early. Just really able to kind of take the power from that card and keep it going through the rest of the game. Ravi only really maybe 3 turns where he had a full grip to do some damage, and in most of those cases, he did not push through as much damage as he would have liked.
Yeah, that is what it felt like. He didn't find any of like the big power turns. The few turns he was able to play out wasn't as flashy as he really wanted to, while Charles was just able to keep stacking up gold and run away with the game.
Charles still with 2 gold at the end of this after spending pretty frivolously to just find a blue, you know.
And after Mr. Moneybags takes that round, that is going to be it for round 4 of Blood on the Bayou Circuit Series. And we'll see you in the next one.